All right, folks, part two. We're back with the CDK2 carburetor job, and it's getting interesting now as we've taken the pump stack plate that sits on top of the body of the carburetor. You know, we've installed our fulcrum arm, our new needle. The two O-rings that go on our brass, the bottom side of our seat that's pressed in. We don't change the seat. And a little wire mesh little screen there that snaps on the end, and that sits right down inside that hole there. So none of that can come loose. The O-rings literally seal that right up, so you're not going to get a bunch of leaking fuel in here. The die cut O-ring piece is going to, as a gasket, goes in here. That's the only gasketing that you're going to have between the body of the carb and the and that pump stack. So I think I got to put my glasses on to do this. Cut it out. Quit making fun of me now. I got two different pair of glasses here. One's the up close glasses and one's the super up close glasses. Well, this, let me bring you right in. This rubber die cut gasket sits over top of one of these holes in the back here, the furthest hole in the back. I'm sorry, let me get right in here. Let me pull that back out for a sec. This hole here is the furthest low speed hole there on the back side in the bore, right? Could be an idle circuit. I don't know. It doesn't. It looks like that literally gets closed right off when everything tightens up. This other stack tightens down on top of it. But just wanted to show you what's going on here. Obviously, the three little holes down inside of here that are shaped like a triangle, then the one right behind it, that's going to be your low end and low speed circuit. This is where I mentioned before that there was a float that actually sat in here and controls this low end part of the circuit. It fits right in there, right on top of those four little holes, and it's going to float on some fuel. As you can see, the circuit starts here at a pretty shallow depth, and then just gets deeper right as it goes down. Let's pull this back out real quick. I may have to flip it over. And you can see how it starts a bit shallow, like a swimming pool slide, right? And it just goes right on down. Now, how that works is this stack is, I'm not going to push it all the way down till we're ready. This is going to be your low speed circuit jet. That's number 85 jet. This is your high speed, and I'm going to say this is super high speed because this is a 115 main jet, and the little low circuit jet literally dribbles right into this little bit right here, the shallow beginning. I hope you got all that. Let me go back. Low speed jet, number 85, high speed circuit jet, 115. I know we got needles, right? What do you got jets for? Those replace your Welch plugs in a standard Tillotson type carburetor, pump carburetor. Those are just a stock standard hole that has to, it's a spec thing, and they put a brass cap over top of it, plug over top of it, so you can't get in there and mess with it. With these, you can actually change those jets to run alcohol, a mix of alcohol, methanol, whatever you're going to do. Obviously, that main jet there dumps right into this area here, which is a metal plate, another plastic reed on the bottom side of that hole. I don't know if you can see the light reflecting off it or not. I'm trying to get that for you. And then there's a black perimeter paper gasket that seals it all up. Now that, remember, feeds that high velocity dump tube, right? Now, this is where it really gets interesting. So this is going to feed that direct port right here. What are the needles for, Robert? Well, I'm getting to it. The low speed feeds that deal there with our little float in it. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not. You used to be able to see it with this piece off. The high-speed needle comes in. You can see here, down in here where it comes through, there's a little hole in this wall right here of this little orifice where the high-speed feeds. Low speed, right down, you're not going to be able to see it. It's too tight in there. Where that plastic float fits down in here, you're going to have the low-speed needle bottoming out in there. Okay, and there's a pass-through there. So what happens is when a fuel comes up from the pump and splits and comes over to the bottom side of our fulcrum arm, your pump gasket is going to be on the top of here, right? This whole area is going to fill with gas. It doesn't. The fuel doesn't just run into the. It will. That's why it's close here. It's going to run. This is a screw. We're getting this screw holds the plate to the body of the carburetor. So that's not a pass through. The only places the fuel is going to pass through is here for the low speed circuit underneath with that plastic float, here into that big swimming pool type area for that high speed deal, and then here, this is actually high speed as well. This is going to be more of your super high speed. This is probably your more idle circuit, maybe. You know, where the fuel's just dribbling out into that dump tubes or whatever you want to call it, that high velocity tube. Because once we remove this and you look, that dumps right into this section here, just the same way this slow jet or low speed circuit jet dumps in here and it goes downhill like a slide. This one here, this is just an open hole, no threads, no jet, drops right into here and it all goes down here and it's controlled by your high speed needle. So it's almost like a on a float bowl carb where they put a fitting in the bowl with a tube coming up to your air inlet part of the air horn part of your carburetor, and it's got a tweaker, a needle on it, right? And you can adjust it so you can statically adjust your float bowl carburetor with a main jet a bit lean, and then you use this thing here so when the faster the air comes in at top speed, high speed, wide open throttle, 6 gear, you would adjust that what they call a power jet, and it really only works at high velocity of vacuum. When you're not creating low end, mid range, where you're not creating the amount of vacuum it takes to literally suck that fuel up from your float bowl and blow it out. That's what this is doing here, mechanically. A little engineer designed this to work this way, so that it's going to get some type of fuel dribbling in here to feed it at probably low speed or mid-range speed. And then when she really starts pumping and all this fills up with fuel, this other end can fill this section here, and then the high-speed needle is going to work just like that power jet I was talking about, right? So pretty neat little design, little feat of engineering. These engineers at Kian in Japan did. Listen, they're not just they didn't just take Henry Ford's idea of a production line and literally streamline it and make it even better. Because I mean, let's be honest, I'm not a Toyota fan. I'm not a Nissan fan. I'm an American car buying guy because I'm an American. But you got to hand it to those folks. They really know how to build production vehicles, especially from learning with their motorcycles. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of motorcycles of different models, and for different types of different model for different continents on the earth. EPA regulations or air violations or whatever you want to call it, regulations of different countries are different. That's why we get Canadian bikes that sneak over the border into the U.S., like the old RZ350 for a while there. I'm not sure you could even get one here. They obviously got them in Canada before they got them here. There's the Canadian model compared to the American model. There are Japanese models of my 250 CBR 250 street bike that are literally an inline 4-cylinder but it's still only a maximum of 250 cc's. That thing turns like 20,000 RPM. It sounds like a standard, you know, R6 or GSX-R 600, really running up the revs like a Formula One bike. So they really take great care in design and engineering and testing, I'm sure, of these things here. This is a wonderful little piece of engineering right here. I'm really looking forward to how it runs and operates on the motor on the cart. So we already know how it worked with the Honda. Really idiot proof. Just a wonderful little piece that we picked up to put on our Honda. And not that we have any trouble with our carburation on our ICC, but from a 30 millimeter carburetor to something with a 42 millimeter hole in it, right, and a 38 or 39 on the back side, really is going to make some kind of difference, and we're going to find out. But let's go ahead and finish putting this thing back together, and we'll bring you the finished product when we're all done. Talk to you all in a bit.